Hey friends, I'm going to start throwing out some videos that expand upon topics brought up in my Twitch chat. Today's topic being, should mouse and keyboard players and controller players play together, specifically when talking about crossplay? As per usual, what I'm about to say is my opinion. You have yours, I have mine, let's be respectful and learn from each other. So moving on, note that the background gameplay is a bug involving searching on a console while you're playing PC. This was available for about a week, and I got a couple games in under these circumstances. I am the only mouse and keyboard player in a lobby full of 11 other controller players. So I initially wanted to get some footage for a lonesome sidearm review. However, I think this is more fitting for today's topic because using a sidearm on mouse and keyboard is inferior to a controller, at least when talking easy use. For the record, if you were the best aimer in the world on mouse and keyboard, then every weapon's better on mouse and keyboard. But for the relative ease of use, I give the edge to controller. What I want everyone to pay attention to in the background gameplay is just look at how my movement completely disorients every player. They are doing their best to track me, but they can't really keep up with the speed that mouse and keyboard enables. Specifically, mouse and keyboard enables fast 45, 90, and 180 degree turns, and there's no stopping there. You can immediately convert on a slide into cover, shooting somebody on the side and then immediately reacquiring your original target. You can do a tornado class ability dodge. You can throw your class ability, whip 180 just to get a camera view behind you, and then before your class ability's even done, back to where you're looking. You can shoot someone in front of you, throw an ability behind you to block sightline, and then deal with the person in front of you again. And I think most significantly, you can slide backwards. You can whip 180, start the slide animation, then whip 180 back during the animation, and still shoot people even though your character is contorted and very awkward to hit. So all of what I just listed is the no discussion, this is the mouse and keyboard advantage. Here's where we start getting to the pros and cons. I think that aim assist friction and aim assist drag, which is where you have a controller, and if someone's moving side to side, your controller will automatically track them, and if your crosshair is on them, it will slow down the relative movement so that they're easier to track, using full stick movements. Depending on where you sit, this can be seen as an advantage or a disadvantage. For example, with an auto rifle, having friction and drag makes tracking your target very low effort. However, when using a grenade launcher and trying to projectile aim to bounce it off a wall to hit somebody, if you have aim assist drag in that situation, you are going to miss because your crosshair is not where you deliberately want to put it. To a lesser extent, if you want to shoot a specific grenade off the wall in a high traffic area, or if you're trying to keep a really tight angle and break a tightened barricade from safety, you might not hit your target because in that high traffic area, everyone is dragging the crosshair off where you want it to be. Because of all these reasons I just listed, mouse and keyboard is in another galaxy when it comes to skill potential. So I rarely humor the discussion of which is better, mouse and keyboard or controller, when the real answer is what device are you better with? Because if you're one of the best mouse and keyboard players in the world, and believe me, I've seen them, where they never miss a shot, their crosshair is always where it needs to be, there's no wasted movement, and their aim, they're as fast as possible on their acquisition, it's not even a contest. Mouse and keyboard is far above and superior. But now let's be realistic. Not everybody is this good. This is why I'm of the opinion, you can quote me on this, that you played the best input device for you, for the job at hand. And if you are doing that, you are not allowed to complain about the other one because you did not put the effort in to reach the potential of that device. I'm going to pause for emphasis here. Repeat the last 10 seconds of the video, please. Okay, so now you know my background thoughts that drive me to this ultimate opinion. I think that when it comes to crossplay, mouse and keyboard players and controller players should not be in the same lobby, which means that controller players need to opt in to allow themselves to play with mouse and keyboard opponents. In my opinion, mouse and keyboard versus controller just isn't fair. I'm using one of the worst mouse and keyboard setups right now in this lobby, and they just can't 180 track it. It's hopeless. I watched this gameplay back and I had to take 3 showers. I felt that dirty. So given the option again of searching into a console-only lobby, I will never do it again. It is not fair. Now let me give credit where credit's due. I think Bungie has done the best balancing job of making both mouse and keyboard and controller competitive against each other in the same environment. To this day, players still argue about which device is superior, which I think lends itself to saying that something might be pretty close to right here. For example, controller has aim assist drag and aim assist friction, but mouse and keyboard gets a variety of bonuses. Deliberate snap aiming, better in-air accuracy, and less recoil so that a mouse player doesn't have to keep lifting up their mouse and putting it up top so that they can control recoil downwards. I'm at the point with my mouse and keyboard career where I can't switch to controller and get similar results, but at the same time, if I were to 1v1 Drewski, I'd get f***ing ran because Destiny's not all about aiming and speed. It's about positioning and decision making and game sense, which goes a lot farther than you would think, and it doesn't matter what device you use, it will be good enough to employ this at the highest level. But even then, personal opinion, if you held a gun to my head and told me to tell you which one is better, 10 out of 10 times, I'm telling you it's mouse and keyboard. It just takes a special kind of player to reach that potential. So now let's wrap back around and combine everything I've talked about in this video so far. When it comes to a console controller only lobby, I don't think a mouse and keyboard player deserves to be there because when we look at the wide spectrum of averages, mouse and keyboard and controller, and mix them together in a lobby, I think that the controller players are overall at a net loss to their enjoyment. And why subject them to that when they could just have an opt-in option? That's really all I'm trying to say on this one, so let me know in the comment section if you think differently and respectfully explain why, and I will take a look at that, favorite the ones that I think make compelling points, and I'll see you in the next one. For the rest of the video, I will talk about this Lonesome Sidearm, which is a lightweight sidearm that can roll tunnel vision and multi-kill clip. So once you get a kill, you reload for extra damage and extra aim assist. These are the obvious perks that stand out when you look at all the available perks on this weapon. However, there's one that I think is super clutch for swapping to, and that is Vorpal Weapon, which takes the place of multi-kill clip. So you could have Rangefinder and Vorpal Weapon and swap to this if you're a controller player specifically and want to take out a super, because your other alternative is the Escape Velocity submachine gun, which is much harder by comparison to control. And with Rangefinder, you might be getting a similar damage drop-off to be able to TTK down some of these supers. For my M&K players at home, you might be saying, well wait, why can't we use Farewell? You can, but Escape Velocity is probably going to serve you better for the effective distance. Secondarily, you'll have Dead Man's Tail, which can send a super back to the hole that it crawled out of. So ultimately, here are my recommendations for perks. For the barrel, anything that gives range without taking away stability. For the magazine, accurized rounds for range. Then you want Rangefinder or Heating Up or Moving Target. And if you play a lot of PvE, just go Subsistence. But for PvP, Rangefinder, my number one. And for the other perk column, yes, multi-kill clip is pretty good, but I say get an identical roll with Vorpal Weapon that you can swap to. I do think this sidearm is worth going for, specifically to make PvE easier on yourself whenever the artifact happens to benefit sidearms. You can end up running lost sectors significantly faster over the course of a day just because of the sprint speed bonus alone. And also, while I'm thinking about it, I'm looking at this perk list and there's a question that has been burning, but I've never been able to answer it because of bad RNG. The perk Unrelenting, that says you need multiple kills in PvP to recover your health. Does this leech off of another gun with this perk? So if I had a kinetic gun with Unrelenting and an energy gun with Unrelenting, if I get a kill with the kinetic, then a kill with the energy, would the energy proc Unrelenting? I've never had two guns to confirm this, but I would love to know in the comment section below. Because if that is the case, then I do strongly recommend that perk because getting your health back after a double is like the Crimson Exotic perk for very aggressive Slayer players. Do your own research, Cammy. No! It's RNG to see if I get this gun in the first place, and it's not a significant enough perk for the average player that would even think to keep these things to begin with. So I'm putting it out there now, so maybe my giant audience can, which I'm very grateful for by the way, can start keeping an eye out, keep it, and then somebody can confirm for all of us whether or not we delete more guns with that perk or keep them. Thank you very much. And that tangent right there might be the fuel for the next video, which the topic could possibly be about RNG and it getting really old when it comes to Destiny. See you in the next vid.